Okay, let's go on to chapter 14. You know the drill. If you have not caught up and you're reading along, catch up. If you're just listening or watching, make sure you go to the very first, the intro in chapter 1, and then on and on and on, okay? Definitely builds up. Since it's my life, you gotta follow it in crazy order. Okay, chapter 14. Family always walks your path with you. Thank God they are willing. Family doesn't have to, right? People have free will. They can choose to be with you or not with you. And it's great when family is willing to walk the walk with you. Having a baby was such a touching, emotional, amazing event, and watching a child grow was pure joy. I went home using crutches with a baby to care for and a 115-pound Rottweiler to walk. Yeah, he lost 5 pounds. Kendall was still in Kuwait dealing with the Iraq conflict, but the Red Cross contacted him to let him know he had a baby girl. When he had a chance to call me, we agreed that the condo would not be enough space, and I was willing to manage the sale of the condo in Oceanside and search for a new home in Murrieta, about 40 miles away. I prayed daily for God to give me the strength, and I received the strength. Chris and Gabriel headed back to Indiana. I was so grateful to her for being there while Kendall was away. As always, my mom came to the rescue. Kenda, Bear, and I went to her house in Sherman Oaks so I could get some help caring for the baby and the dog while my dislocation healed. My sister Sabbath and her young sons, Elijah and Christian, also lived in the large apartment. It was a happy family affair for a month. I called our friends and real estate team, the Nortons, to ask Conrad and Kim to help me sell the condo and find a home most likely in Murrieta, since houses in Oceanside were way too expensive. They said as soon as I got back to town, they were ready to get it going. I put the sale and the search in prayer and believed it would happen smoothly. Within 2 weeks of listing the condo, we received a great offer from a couple who were renting and could be flexible with the move-in if we needed more time on our search. The following Saturday morning, Kim and Conrad came and picked up me and Kenda for a sunny, beautiful ride to search for our house. Kim said, "We have a couple to show you as of last night, but I checked again this morning and and a new listing that looks perfectly for you popped up." We decided to go look at the new listing first. It was a 2-story in a quiet neighborhood, a big 4-bedroom with a large master bedroom. The bathroom was small. The backyard was small, but there were no rear neighbors. So it had a beautiful view through a wrought iron fence. After we viewed a couple others, I told Kim and Conrad that the first one was the one. Now, I could do this, remember, because he's away, but he gave me permission and we had a power of attorney signed. Always remember, if you're going to attempt to do something for your spouse, you need a power of attorney. So you should have one. And the good thing about the military, when your spouse deploys, they have them complete a will and a power of attorney, because they know the spouse is going to need to do stuff while they're gone, and heaven forbid something should happen, but those 2 items they make sure you take care of prior to deployment. Very helpful. "Are you sure?" they asked. I said yes, so we wrote an offer. It was accepted. I was so relieved and excited. I sent Kendall pictures through email, and he would get a chance to see it when he came home in April. Until we moved, I cautiously put Kenda in a baby sack strapped on my chest and held Bear tightly while we made our way down the stairs outside the condo. Since I had her in the pack on me and I had him on the leash on this hand, I could hold the stair rail as we walked down together closely, praying the whole way every single time, twice a day, his morning walk and his evening. Crazy. Bear was always a gentle giant. He always walked carefully and never pulled us. Kendall loved looking around, and I was selfishly enjoying her while I waited for Kendall to return from Iraq. His flight home took him into Los Angeles International Airport. If you have ever been to LAX, you know how packed the traffic gets, how it resembles a maze of parking structures, and how crowded the terminals are during the daytime. Kendra and I arrived early so that I could walk her in a stroller to the baggage claim gate where her dad would see her for the first time in person. Kendra looked around in amazement. There was so much activity for her little eyes to take in. Kendall had a big, proud smile on his face as he walked up to us. He gave me a snug hug and a kiss before picking Kendra up out of the stroller. She looked and looked at him. Then when he spoke, she smiled. As I promised, she knew his voice. Amazing. So as I said, at first, she was just looking around, and then when she saw him and he picked her up, she was looking at him and looking at him, and then when he said something to her, "Hi, Kendra," then she eyes popped. I was like, I know that voice. That is so cool. Make sure your man talks to your belly, ladies. Men, be happy to talk to the belly. They will know that voice. Grandmas, grandpas, everybody should get a chance to talk to the belly. Kendall was home long enough to help us get moved into the house, go on a furniture shopping trip with Mom and me and Kendra, and then he was deployed again. Life was easier in the Marietta house in 2003. I could let Bear out into the backyard to do his business. Kendra and I could play in the family room or in the backyard, or I could drive Bear and Kendra to the park for a walk around in the stroller. My dislocated ankle was healing with some limitation. They had me doing therapy, you have to do physical therapy and all that. But I have a feeling it wasn't casted at the right dimension. It should have been bent a little bit, and it was like that. So now, even to this day, it's kind of wonky. But I'm glad to have a foot. I'm glad to have a foot. It had not been set at the right angle. Told you. So I would always have some difficulty with it. My track days were long gone, so I really didn't mind. My mom, Sabbath, and my nephews came down often to visit and help me. EJ was 4 and Christian was 3, so they loved it when I inflated the little pool in the backyard and filled it with water. Kendra and the boys played and splashed while Bear ran around on the outside equally as excited. Over the next 3 years in Marietta, I studied to be a real estate agent at the encouragement of Conrad and Kim Norton. Then I got a full-time job at K. Hovnanian Forecast Homes when Kendra turned 1 year old. After 3 weeks in the child care facility where she continued to pick up illnesses, I found Kendra the perfect caregiver named Rachel. Amazing, but truly, she was in there 3 weeks. Healthy when she went in. The first week she got sick. Horrible cold. Then I kept her out. She got well, went back the second day of the following week. Within 3 days, she was sick again. And every time I went in there, one of those, the big child facilities that have all the kids in there, and so many workers are not paying attention. Kids are running noses and hands touching everything. So I couldn't have my baby continue to get sick over and off again. So I found her a home care provider. She was a single mom who had a 1-year-old son, and he made a perfect playmate for Kendra. She lived with her parents, who treated Kendra like another grandchild. Yeah, shout out to Doris. Shout out to, why am I drawing a blank on your husband's name? I will in a minute, and when I say it out the blue, you guys will know who I'm talking about. Russ. Russ and Doris, Rachel and Jonte. Okay. It was a relief for me that Kendra was in good hands while her dad and I worked. That's stressful when you're worrying about your kid. Kendra was home from Iraq and commuting from Camp Pendleton to Marietta daily, so living was easier for the Evans family. A little bit more for him since he had to commute. In 2005, Kendall retired after 21 years in the Marines and was ready to join the civilian workforce. I wish he could have retired, but You know, got to keep it working. He's young. He went in young, retired after 21 years, and that's pretty awesome. I surprised him with a retirement party to which his mom, his dad, and other family members and friends attended. The Myriad house was full of laughter as we did a roast in his honor and praised him for his dedication to his service. He was ready to start applying for civilian jobs immediately. I explained that civilian jobs were totally different than the military, but I knew he could handle it. Kendall went to a job staffing seminar with the Lucas Group. Do that. If you're ever looking for a job or your spouse is looking for a job, especially if they have military history, Lucas Group. Google it. They're awesome. And before he knew it, he had a job in the City of Industry working for a plastic manufacturing company. It was a night shift job and the commute was long. So I knew it was not going to last long. He had to go like an hour each way. One day Kendall called me on his break and said, I got a job offer for a contract position at Camp Pendleton. But what do I say about this job? What do I do? I just started here. I put it plain and simple. Quit. You went into the job with the intention of staying, but a closer, better opportunity has come along. Tell them thank you and give them 2 weeks' notice. He started working for Bell on a military contract within 3 weeks. Kendall's new job was great. It offered him a good hourly wage, benefits, and was on the flight line at Camp Pendleton, where he had been most of his military career. He was happy. I loved my job at K. Hovnanian too. The company was big and getting bigger in the Inland Empire because of all of the new home construction and the great interest in mortgage rates. Couldn't beat it. I started as a purchase contract administrator. The woman training me, Tracy, was very helpful and extremely funny. We laughed most of the day, even though we did work hard. She and I were the two hardest workers in there. We knew what we were doing, very knowledgeable, very helpful to our manager. They just had no clue of the level of hard work ethic that they had in us. They really did. When I applied for a job in the new design gallery in Corona, the only thing I missed was my daily interaction with Tracy. That was hard. I was living about 10 minutes from work, 10 minutes from Kenda, and it was just a great job at KF90 and the contract position. And then when the design gallery opened, because I had that design background, even though it's clothing, fashion, home, fixtures, things like that, design is design. So I couldn't pass that opportunity. I enjoy the design gallery and the people I work with there too. It's not difficult for me to make friends, which is normal, because I try to share my joy. Marianne, Kim, Elena, and my new best friend Mimi made work seem like play. We grew close by having each other's backs at work and keeping the stress low with laughter. Do you see the key here? Me and family, laughter. Me and friends, laughter. Me and employees, co-workers, anyone else, laughter. You keep that laughter, it keeps it light, it makes it easy for everyone to do whatever they have to do. Makes sense. My part-time work as a realtor was bringing in steady money as well, and it too was rewarding. Our lives were blessed with goodness thanks to God's grace, and my journey was filling my heart with happiness. In May of 2006, Kendall asked me if I wanted to go see some new homes that a guy at work mentioned to him. The community was in the city of Paris, and he said they had some single stories that were amazing. I don't know anything about Paris, but a single story? Yes, let's go, I said with excitement. I was tired of dragging laundry upstairs, and the legs on Bear and Kendall were taking a beating due to the daily climb. Kendall played basketball, remember? He played basketball from the time he enlisted until even after retirement. So, okay, all that beating and pounding, running and jumping, his legs were saying, brother, let's get a single story. Don't get too excited. We are just going to see them. We will talk about it if we can afford them after that, the family bookkeeper said to me. Yes, Kendall has always been on top of our financial security. If you remember, he's the responsible one who always makes sure we're in budget, keeping the budget, and not the spendthrift. I'm not super, gotta buy all new clothes, have a closet full of new clothes and shoes. But if there's things for the house or things that we would like to have, then I don't have a problem spending some money. When we met, he was the responsible one, remember? Showing me how to properly balance my checkbook and counseled me about the negative effects of paying bills late and payday loans. Yes, he did. I accepted his advice and direction. Now I agree with saving and spending wisely, but I also know when it is financially beneficial to do something that will enrich our souls and our lives, even if we have to spend some money. We make a great team. On the following Saturday, we took little 3-year-old Kenda and drove up Highway 215 to Paris. We had been in this area before. In 2000, when Kim and Conrad were showing us that our money could buy a house instead of a condo, we were in the neighboring town of Menifee. There was nothing but fields and weeds with an occasional store or gas station in 2000, and not much had changed in 2006. Kendall and I laugh at the lack of buildings, but the community of Monument Ranch immediately turned our laughs into oohs and ahs. We walked the models, grand 2 stories with wine rooms and master suites, large family rooms in every model, and we fell in love with the Plan 2 single story that had a courtyard entry. I remember to this day the feature that captured Kendall's attention and his comment, "Wow, look how long this hallway is to the bedrooms." Funny, but the huge granite island in the big open kitchen didn't impress him as much as the hallway did. That was hilarious. Whether it was the long hallway, huge island, or the lack of stairs that convinced us, it didn't matter to me. I listed and sold the Murrieta house, and we bought the house in the Monument Ranch subdivision in Paris. We picked the lot and watched as the builder created our new home from the ground up in 3 quick months. Remember back when we tried to buy a house in Georgia that was going to be built for us, and they were prejudiced and had an issue with us buying in the community? We didn't fret, we didn't fight, we didn't have an issue. We moved on, bought a resale, and after selling that, buying the condo, getting great equity, selling that, buying the Murrieta home, selling that at the right time, great equity, and then we bought the house in Paris. Told you, you parlay, and you don't fret over stuff. God will bless you. There's a reason he didn't want us to buy in Georgia on a new build that was going to cost us so much more. In July of 2006, we closed on our new home. Then we immediately stripped all of the standard flooring and tile countertops out to be upgraded by custom foam marble tile floors and red dragon countertops, island and backsplash. Yes, if you've never seen red dragon granite, Google it. After working in the design gallery, working with vendors, and going to a couple of slab yards, I really searched out something that was unique. That stuff is nice. While we were selling a house, buying a house, remodeling a house, and moving into the new house, Kendall's commute increased by 20 miles, and I transferred from the design gallery at K.F. Nanian to the construction team at K.F. Nanian's 4 Seasons at Hemet. It's an active adult community. The president of the Inland Empire, Damon, was a visionary, if there ever was one, and he discussed the opportunity with me. I was interested. I interviewed with the community manager, Steve, and got the job. My commute decreased by 20 minutes, and the team that I worked with at 4 Seasons were such nice people. Everybody I worked with, usually you could find the nice people, but everybody here was just so nice. My new boss, Steve, was very knowledgeable about home building, financial budgeting, and a real people person. The rest of the team, Giovanni, call him Gio, Carlos, Wendy, and Lori, became long-lasting friends from our first meeting. I missed the girls at the design gallery, but kept up with them and the fun and drama through weekly chats with Mimi. Mimi would always tell me what's going on with her life and the design gallery. Tracy and I would go get pedicures together and discuss all of the news in each other's lives as well. I didn't have a lot of friends then, but I had quality friendships. I didn't think I could love working in the field more than I liked the gallery, but I did. I enjoyed going to work every day and gained valuable knowledge and skills to use for life. That's the end of chapter 4. Now, chapter 4 had so much going on, I couldn't even dwell into all of the stuff that had gone on. So these are just snippets of my life that I touched base with. And then these are pictures when we were in the Marietta house and just all of the wonderful things that happened. Kenda and her cousins, and Kenda growing up, and my stepkids coming with one of their cousins. And there's Camille, my stepdaughter, and Kenda. And there's Kenda in the Marietta house when she called herself putting on makeup. That is hilarious. You have to go check that out on the website. So funny. And there's my stepson Terrence. I just call them my son and daughter, but I'm explaining to you that they're steps in the picture. Rachel and John Tay. Oh, Kendall when he was in the Corps right before he deployed. Just so much going on. And then we moved to our Paris beauty. Oh, we love that house. Still love that house. And all the things that we did and trips we went to, and we would always be able to come back home to our lovely home. Kenda and one of her teachers from her Christian school, me and my grandma, and we went to Indiana and Kendall and his son Terrence and his girlfriend at the time. Oh, we went to Palm Springs on a sunny day, and we went up in the tram, and once we got in the tram, it was snowing. Like, it looked, when you stepped out, it looked like it was covered everywhere, like you're in Minnesota or something. It was crazy, and the news people interviewed us. It was so funny. Kenda's birthday in the backyard at the new house. Just wonderful times. Remember, document your lives with pictures. I'm never really down or depressed anyway, but if I was, or when Kenda's kind of blah, I always tell her, look at the books, pick out pictures. So we get the albums out, flip through pictures. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of pictures, people. I'm telling you, I have to do a whole wall collage or something. But do that. Document your lives, because even good times, bad times, when you look at the pictures, it still helps you remember how blessed you are to be here. Every day is a blessing. That's the end of chapter 14. So I'll see you soon.